Hey up everybody, my name is Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, and today I want to talk a little bit about 28 Years Later. It's a film that I saw in the cinema and I had a few thoughts on it. I had quite mixed sort of feelings about it, and I've noticed that apparently a load of people are talking about it, so I thought I would hop onto this topic far too late and get into it. So I watched it in the Curzon, right? And it's a decent place. It's a nice cinema. I went in there, but you don't really care about my exact cinema experience, do you? What you want to know is about the film. Am I on the side that loves it, or am I on the side that hates it? Well, so it started off, right? And it starts off with basically a rip-off of the scene from 28 Weeks Later, the intro scene. But this time it's just kind of worse. And you know, because it's called 28 Years Later, I thought, well, this is probably like, you know, a little bit before, you know, the film is actually going to begin. You know, I thought this was 28 years after the zombie apocalypse, but it turns out after the fact that it was when the zombie apocalypse first started. And honestly, the whole sequence is kind of naff. Like, the whole thing of them watching Teletubbies was a bit stupid, and the shots there weren't particularly interesting, and then the whole bit of them escaping. You know, it didn't feel, it felt intense, but it didn't feel like, it kind of felt like the zombies should have got him. It didn't feel like the kid deserved to get away. And then he goes to talk to his dad, who's a vicar, who's gone a bit mental. And it was all just like, if you're doing this mental vicar stuff, you've really gotten to the bottom of the barrel. And then it cuts to black, and it cuts back into a fella called Spike, who's this like 12-year-old kid. And he goes downstairs, and he's living in this sort of gated community on an island where there's like loads of people, and it just seems like a nice, normal place. And it's 28 years after the zombie apocalypse. Now, I really liked the first act of this. I really liked how the dad was taking him around, and I really liked the whole place. I really liked the setup and the building of tension. Like, oh, you don't want to go on the mainland. The mainland's really scary, and I felt like it was going to be scary on the mainland. And it felt like they did a good job of you know, slowly increasing the stakes as we had this mentor figure show Spike how various things work. You know, start off with a couple slow zombies, but then we get a couple runners, you know, and it felt like they increased the stakes in a natural feeling way that felt good. It felt comfortable. And then, you know, there's the stuff in the house where there's this house and they hide in the loft and they hide there overnight, and that stuff all felt good. And then there's this one bit where Spike asks about the fire, and the dad kind of brushes him off and is a bit weird about it, and you go, oh, okay, that was a bit weird. Guy's a bit of a knob, but you know, you're not thinking too much of it. You might just be a bit tired or whatever, but it's like, he's got one tick on the arsehole scale now. And then they get back, and it feels like they kind of just immediately decided, right, well, the dad needs to be an arsehole, so they had him have an affair. And I thought the affair thing could be really interesting because the mum is dying, and you know, there's something quite interesting going on there. I liked that, but they never did anything else with the affair stuff. And then they kind of just, like, if that wasn't enough to prove that the dad was an arsehole, then they just have the dad turn around and whack the kid. And I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. You're just taking all ambiguity out of it. You didn't need to have him hit the kid, right? Surely you could have done something interesting with the fact that this dad is out there, you know, miserable all the time. It's a horrible world, you know, all of this kind of stuff. You could have done something interesting with it. Set up some mystery. Who is this woman? What's so good about her? All this kind of stuff, you know. Nothing done with it, just gets forgotten about. And now the dad's just the most abusive piece of shit ever. It's just like he just turns like that, right? And then Spike takes his mum, who's dying of something, to this doctor. That's apparently where the source of that flame was earlier on. And they go there, and I don't really believe it. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that the mum was this delirious that she would just go along with it. But then, after you kind of get over that, the next hour or so of them going around together, getting up to nearly up to the end of the film, really, was all really good. There was a lot of good stuff in there, and you know, it felt quite good. And then there was that Swedish fellow who came down, who was the mercenary soldier guy, and he was fantastic. I wish he'd stayed around longer in the film. He was probably my favourite part of the film. I wish he'd been in it like the entire way through. He was a fantastic character, so cynical, so, you know, down to earth, but so realistic and so interesting and so miserable and so nasty, but also so understandable and so funny as well, but without being like this is the clear comedy character. But there were some funny bits of it, like particularly when he shows Spike the iPhone, shows his girlfriend, and Spike's kind of going, oh, what's up with your girlfriend? Is your girlfriend got some disease or something? He's like, oh, I've heard about this. And it was just funny, and it was just because the woman had a load of Botox. That was an amusing bit. Got a load of good laughs in the audience there. And then they go to this fella who is sorting out, he's like a witch doctor type guy who's obsessed with skulls and bones and stuff. And that was all really interesting, and the whole reveal of the mum having that disease. Fuck it, there's spoilers, isn't it? Cancer, she has cancer, right? That was all fantastic, and it was so sad. I was genuinely really upset for the kid. And the kid did such a good job acting it. The actor was so good at it, whatever his name was. He was so good at that role. And that whole bit of him climbing the mound of bones to put his mum's skull up there. I've seen a few things on forums where people go like, that was a load of shite. I thought that was fucking fantastic. I loved that stuff. What I didn't like was, so they have the baby. I wanted the baby to come back to the island, and I wanted Spike to come back to the island and deal with the dad. I wanted to see what was going to go on there. But Spike doesn't go back to the island, he carries on. I don't know why he carried on. No real good reason for it. He just didn't really want to talk to his dad again, I guess. I don't know. It was a load of shit. I thought he should have gone back on that thing. But the only reason they don't do that is for sequel bait. So I get back, right? And it turns out that it's 28 years later, part 1. And there's going to be 28 years later, Killer Bones or some shit that's coming out in God knows when. And it just got me thinking, why can't they just make one fucking film? Just make one film, right? The whole thing could have just finished there. You had a little bit of a confrontation with the dad at the end, done. You know, why couldn't you have done that? I don't understand why we had to draw it out for another film. And I'm not watching the next film. I don't give a shit, right? You're going to sit there and you're going to tell me I'm going to watch part 1 of a film, fine. But tell me, don't lie to my face and get me thinking that there's going to be a full film when there isn't. It really pissed me off that. It's the same thing with Dune. Dune part 1. All this sort of shit. It's just so irritating. Why can't they make one film? Everything now is a part 1 of something, or like they're setting up something else. Captain America 5 or whatever, setting up Captain America 6. Avengers 5 part 1. You know, just make one film, right? I don't mind there being a sequel. I don't mind that at all. But make one film at a time. I'm so fed up of it. And so that really soured my impression of 28 Years Later. The fact that I paid for half a movie. It felt like it could have been a complete movie, but you need to do this sequel bait shit. I'm not interested in watching the next one. I'm not gonna watch the next one now. You know, they could have done 28 months later, made a real film, and then done 28 years later and done a real film. Could have got 2 films out of it, and I could have gone to seen both of them. But nope, can't have that. We got to have 28 years later, part 1 and part 2. God knows, part 3 probably coming up. What of Avatar, part 2 or 3, and then 4 and 5 and 6. And it's just like, make one film. Avatar was a good film. I like Avatar, right? People talk shit about it, but you know what? If James Cameron had made Avatar and then a few years later come out with another film that was a complete film, it would have been fine. Because you know what? Avatar is a complete movie. We didn't need Avatar 2. I'm not interested in watching Avatar 2. Right? What's the point? It's more of it, right? Doing the same thing. The humans come back and they fight again. Why did we need that? We already did it all in the first film. Just make one film at a time, man. It really gets on my goat. So much so this entire video I feel like I've been completely incoherent, but that's just what it is. It's just the case. And I'm sorry that this video isn't more coherent. I'm sorry I'm not like a Mark Kermode level film reviewer where I've got notes and stuff. And you know what? I watched the film like a month ago. I'm filming this on the 20th of July. It'll probably come out some point late July. But, you know, the whole discourse in 28 Years Later is dead at this point anyway, so... you know. I just thought it was a naff film. I just thought it was a load of wank. But it didn't need to be. I liked what I saw. And then they tried to draw me in for more of it. It's the same reason I'm not interested in watching Better Call Saul. Because it's one episode that leads into the next, that leads into the next, cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger. Stop putting me on fucking cliffhangers. Is it fun to hang off a cliff? No. It's nice to walk, right? Just let me walk, let me climb the cliff, right? And get to the top and look out over a grand vista. Stop making me hang off these fucking cliffs all the time. Sick of it. Honestly, that's my thoughts on 28 Years Later. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the film? Do you get so annoyed about this the way that I do? Do you not mind it? What are your thoughts? Let me know. That's it. Bye. Bit of an annoying one. Just fed up of it.